Do you believe as Christians that we're supposed to get paid for what we do? Now, I mean, I got paid and you paid me. Do you think it's a sin? Do you think you're supposed to do your craft free of charge? You know, those that are better at it and that are getting more money for it, do you think that the devil is somewhere in their life because they are taking the checks and taking those deposits and they getting enough money to where they can live off of that money? What's your mind and opinion on being an artist and getting paid for your art?
So that was hilarious. So no, thank God I didn't haggle you for the price. Like I
Because you
so
wouldn't have got
if it was
you wouldn't have got your project.
so no, I respect that. No, so I know me personally, I know if it was me and I'm telling somebody, all right, so this is the services that I have, this is the services that you want, here's my price, right? Oh man, da da da. I know I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? And I feel like, as somebody, I'm in my 40s, right? So I have been walking with the Lord for a while. I've been immersed in church culture since I was born. My parents have been in the same church since I was before I was born. So I grew up as a church boy. So I have
Right,
seen a lot, you know what I mean? And I have
right,
seen people, kind of like over spiritualize certain things. That's kind of like, hey, you are way over here with it, and it doesn't even take all that. We're right down here on the ground level with it, where it's kind of like, well, I know you provided this service for me, but even the thing that I made fun of is kind of like, hey, you don't have to do all of that. I
right,
told you from the beginning, this is the service. I told you what the price was. You agreed to it. And now all of a sudden, when it's time to pay, now we have some funny stuff going on. Now you want to get kind of like all off in the outer space with it. Come on. We're not doing that. And so I think it's just simply the Bible talks about things like that. The first and I'm gonna quote scripture in a sense again, where I think it was Paul that said something to the effect of a workman is worthy of his hire, right? So my
correct.
thinking is you took time out of your schedule to master these songs, to listen to it, to really kind of like put your ear to the music, to kind of draw it out and make it sound the best that it could sound. And you're excellent at what you do. Shameless plug. So you're excellent at what you do. And I'm like, you took
Appreciate that,
time out
bro.
of your schedule, and that's time that you could have been devoting to something else, right? You could have done something else and let's face facts. We all have bills to pay. And so I recognize that. And even myself, I said to myself, like, I wouldn't have even contacted you if I didn't know in advance how much you charge, how many songs I need to get mastered, and I knew I had that money right off the top. If I know I don't have that right off the top, I'm not going to contact you, right? I'm not going to contact you until I know, all right, I have this money right here, even before he even starts. And I feel like that is just trying to be good at doing business, right? That's something anybody could respect, saved or unsaved. I feel like and that kind of goes into other things where the Bible does talk about our good conduct kind of testifying to who we claim to be, even before we could even say anything, right? I'm not cutting out, preaching the gospel, but sometimes, you could preach the gospel, but then your conduct doesn't match necessarily what you're talking about. So it's kind of like, hey, your message is good, but when it comes to how you kind of operate as far as business or how you kind of do things, the nonverbal preaching of the gospel, it doesn't match the same level. So you preach the gospel, you share, you teach the Bible, but you're shady when it comes to doing business. These things should not
Right,
go together, right? Our
right,
good
right.
conduct should go right along with our claims to be Christian. So I feel like, yes, in some cases, um, I feel like some cases where artists are making a living or they are devoting full time to their artistry. I think that if they're able to, they should get paid, honestly, because it's kind of like, hey, being an artist does not, you still have bills to pay, you still have, in some cases, families to take care of. So you're if Paul the apostle, who in the scriptures was saying, hey, I have a right as an apostle to take or to reap certain benefits from my sharing the gospel. He himself said that. It's like, okay, well, then we have an example in scripture to go off of. Me personally, I'm like, hey, I work. I mean, I have a job on the civilian side. I'm also in the military. So for me, I'm like, I have chosen, like, hey, if you have to pay for me to come through and minister, cool. If you don't, I personally am like, I don't care. I'm just grateful for the opportunity because I have something else that's going to take care of bills and everything like that. So, I think everybody has to kind of determine how they want to go about that. Some people decide to take money, some people do not. It's really up to the person, but I don't think it's wrong.